Greetings, greetings. Testing, testing, testing. Hoping that we're live. Just checking out some production in the beginning in these first few minutes, making sure our audio is synced well, making sure everyone is good. Greetings, greetings, greetings. All right, so far so good. So before we actually begin, we need your feedback, family. If for some reason production seems off, just let us know in the chats, and that way we can make an adjustment as soon as possible. All right? That being said, welcome. My name is Angola.
And I'm Jenna.
And welcome to People Talking Kali. Yes, this is our first episode that we hope to have as an introduction and lay a foundation for future episodes. And so we want to thank you for taking the time to be part of this first live stream, because we believe this is going to grow into something beautiful and productive. So what is People Talking Kali? Okay, what is the purpose of this platform? For us, first and foremost, it is to have a space for Pekiti Tirsia Kali by Pekiti Tirsia Kali people, where the primary content is Pekiti Tirsia Kali. Okay, that sounds good. But what does that mean specifically? For us right now, it means a number of different things. And hopefully you can help us contribute to this vision. First and foremost, we believe a platform of this nature will help strengthen the PTK community. What do we mean by that? Who is the PTK community? Well, that's something first we hope to define as time goes on. PTK is a combat system, yes, but what we can't forget is that it's the people that make the system come to life. Similar to science and mathematics, these are universal principles that exist whether we're here or not. It's what we as human beings do with the information. Do we build civilizations or do we destroy? And so it's the people that make PTK come alive. And from the very beginning, it's been the people that have carried this tradition forward. First and foremost, this is a family tradition coming by way of the Tortals. And then when it was brought to the States and brought around the world, it was the dedication of those first few practitioners, that initial community, that helped this system flourish and become the force that it is today. Now this community has expanded, and it's come to include, not just the diehards anymore, but people who are training other systems, and it's grown, and that's a good thing. But sometimes that can get confusing, that can get muddled. And so what we're hoping to do here is unite and strengthen the people, us, the ones here who are putting the blood, sweat, and tears to make this come alive. Does that make sense? Now, there are some people who want to train PTK and don't want to be part of the community. And I mean, like we said, we're here trying to find what is the community. But at the same time, we want to encourage people to, as you go deeper in your understanding, to become involved in the PTK community, okay? It's kind of like coming over to the house for dinner, coming over, eating, and just leaving. There are some people that do that, and we love those people, the stories that they bring and the adventures that they tell. And then there are other people who come before the meal, and they help prepare the food, and stay after, and they help clean up. But we're all a community nonetheless. So we want to just kind of be clear. We want to strengthen what we do, and we want to all make sure we're keeping the house clean together as a team. All right, so this is about the people. All right, that's one of our primary purposes. I'm talking a lot. This is one of the reasons my queen is here. She's going to help keep me in line and help bring the balance. Another vision that we have is for this to be a place for those guardians, for those pillars of PTK, for those people who spent that 40 plus years, 30 plus years, 20 plus years training. There's a vast spectrum of magnificence and excellence in the PTK community that we don't often hear or see. They often don't participate in social media back and forth conversation because the commitment is so deep and the lifestyle is so serious. And so we want to create a space to bring these guardians and pillars on and share their experience, share their expression, share what they have to offer for PTK, as well as new and emerging instructors and groups and people who see themselves as tugging the line, down the line, helping bring this into a new generation. And last but not least, part of our purpose is to make sure we go deeper in our understanding and respect of Filipino culture and history. Again, there are some people who just want to train PTK, the movements, and of course it is about survival, and different people have the right to choose what they want to do with their studies. For us, PTK does not exist in a vacuum. It comes out of a context. It comes out of a rich history and tradition, and there have been conditions throughout its history that have made it become the art form that it is today. And so as practitioners, we believe it's very important to have respect for Filipino culture and tradition. And we want to go deeper in our understanding and connect where PTK and the culture and tradition overlap. So that's our purpose. Does that make sense so far? Yeah, okay. Everybody tuning in, we're doing good so far, family? Okay, so moving forward, a couple of disclaimers. We are not experts in PTK, okay, or Filipino culture and history. We are babies. And the idea is to bring the experts on. All right, we want to be vessels here and just serve as entities to bring the people who've been doing this on to share their information and knowledge. For my queen and I, you know, there's been a number of conditions that have given us the energy to move forward and to provide this. First and foremost, this is a way of life for us. This is something that we do as a family. And so for us, we really want to make sure we see the system grow and stay pure and clean. But we are still babies, and so we're moving humbly, and we hope to learn together with you. Another disclaimer, this will be hopefully the last and only video where my voice is talking this much and where we as hosts are talking so much. This is designed to be interactive. It's designed to be a dialogue as a community. So we want to have frequent co-hosts, different guests. We want to have scholarly debates, okay? Yeah, we want to come on a professional level, have PowerPoints, have scholars, maybe not debates in a contentious way, but we definitely want to go deeper in our understanding. And so today as our introduction, it's just Jenna and I. However, moving forward, it will be all of you, okay? So that's another positive.
Yeah. And feel free right now to comment as well, as we are broadcasting live on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can submit your comments and even questions, and we'll be happy to address them as we go on.
That's right. Give us some feedback. Let us know everything's flowing so far so smooth. Okay. And then one more disclaimer: we're learning as we grow. All right. We aim to up our production. We aim to get better scrims. But we're learning as we grow. So again, your feedback, your support, your advice, it's really going to help here. Be patient with us as we develop and grow organically. So that kind of laid, just kind of jumped right in. That's a lot. I just wanted to kind of lay on everybody as an initial foundation and as a platform with what we hope to do here today. Questions, comments, concerns?
Type it in.
All right. Side note, moving forward, my wife and I are both educators outside of training, and so it's interactive for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if there are no questions, comments, and concerns, we kind of want to just shift gears with this part of the show. Um, in honor of Mother's Day and in honor of my lovely co-host here today, we want to just talk about something that's important in PTK, something that's important to our community, okay? And that's the women and the mothers in Kali. First and foremost, salute to any women who are training any martial art out there. And another salute to the women who are training PTK. A double salute to those female instructors in PTK who have made that commitment as part of their life and are serving to be a representative for other women in the system. And then, a double, triple salute to the mothers in Pekiti Tirsia Kali. And that's a conversation Jenna and I have often.
Yes.
Women and specifically mothers in PTK. So if you were not aware, Lakan Guru Jenna is a mother who trains Pekiti Tirsia Kali and whose perspective we think is important to just share in this part of the show. And so I got a couple of questions for you, LG.
Fire away.
All right. Let's just start with the base question moving forward.
Yes.
What is your experience as a mother in Pekiti Tirsia Kali?
Oh, that is a deep one. Well, I think that my experience in PTK, when you go back to talking about the brotherhood and sisterhood, is, because of the brotherhood and sisterhood is the same as anyone training. And that, when I am training with our group or by myself or with other groups, I feel just as involved and a part and valued because it's just great camaraderie. In our group in particular and in groups that, have supported us. And I haven't had many not so positive experiences at all. Everyone has always been very supportive. But as a mother, it has been a journey because, your priorities are naturally different. And I trained martial science before I had our two beautiful daughters. And I definitely have had a shift in my perspective. And, the beautiful thing about that, though, is that if anything, I do have an even bigger drive because I have to work harder to train and to set time to train. But also, there's more on the line because I'm traveling in this world with my children. So I think a lot more about the importance of training as I, walk outside with my children, as even when we're driving or when I'm experiencing the things they're experiencing in their life. I think very much about my martial discipline as I'm doing those things.
Okay, once again, if you're just tuning in, we laid the foundation for what the purpose is of our episode here is today, and we're moving forward with Lakan Guru Jenna. I'm asking her a couple of questions. Now here we go. This is we're going to peel back some layers. What are some of the challenges you think that prevent mothers from training PTK? And then what are some solutions that we could come up with that could encourage mothers to train?
Well, I think that's a beautiful question. I think that, often a lot of times, like, people will see me training or see us training, and they'll always ask, like, what can I do to get my queen or my wife to train? And, I often say, different strokes for different folks. Not everyone is, interested in this as their way of life. However, for those who are interested in this as their way of life, there are some things that can really, prevent that. And there's really just two main things. The first thing is your bodily awareness. When you're a woman, especially, when you're a mother and after you've given birth, the reconnection with your body or getting to know your adult body as a mother can be difficult. And, you can face some subconsciousness or some frustration and, some issues with, your coordination. Those things have to be built or rebuilt. And it can be very frustrating and challenging. And so, I would say that that can be something that prevents you from, wanting to push past that. So you might, limit your training, or you might say, oh, that made me too tired. Or you might say, I'm not picking up fast enough. And the other boundary, delay, the other issue that, makes it hard to train is really just your time management. When you are a mother, your time is split, immediately split. And it's not something, I know for sometimes, like for guys, I would say they might feel like their time is split, but not in the way that women do. We have an immediate, focus on our children from time we wake up to the time we go to sleep, especially if we have younger children. And, that priority shift is very difficult. It's difficult to kind of claim yourself back as a woman. And so it can be really difficult when you're trying to, when you say, okay, I'm gonna go to class, then I have to go home and cook dinner. No, I don't want to do that. So it's difficult to manage your time.
So we as fathers, as husbands, or brothers, or anyone, we want to support our queens and our sisters as they recover. It sounds like you're saying from the initial. We want to be encouraging, because that's going to be one of the struggles to get their body back to recovery. We got to be encouraging. We got to be supportive, and then we got to support more with their time.
Right.
So we got to cook dinner a little bit more.
Well, I would say, I definitely think that one of the solutions would be yes. I think that we have to feel encouraged. And a lot of that is just creating spaces for women. We try to do that in our group, create space for women to be their authentic selves and not feel judged. To always, if you do encounter a new female student, to make sure that you have the right balance, your balance within yourself, where you're not trying to overgeneralize her and say, no, train just as hard as the men. That might be discouraging, but you're also not to observe it in a way that might make her feel self-conscious. So it requires a certain balance of an instructor. And also for the husbands, if you happen to want your partner to be more engaged and they want to be engaged, you have to be encouraging. You have to give those reminders that you're doing great, no matter what, you're beautiful. All those things are just so important. But as far as that time management, yes, and we have that conversation often where it's like, you have to reach out. If you're a woman who wants to train, you have to reach out to your support groups, and I reach out to my husband for support, and, sometimes he watches the children while I'm training. And I also reach out to people in my community, and I'm like, maybe we can call someone else to do this gymnastics run because, it's important for me to be in class today. So, you have to reach out, you have to, look for that support. And, if you can, or if you are part of someone's inner circle, support them, help them to, give themselves some time to themselves.
This feedback is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Because we want to encourage more queen sisters and women to train PTK. And we want to move beyond just women's seminars. Mm-hmm. We want this to become more of a way of life. We have daughters, and so our investment in training is making sure that we can pass this information along to our children. And that's why it's very important. And for us, this has become a family system. And not to do so much talking, but my queen saying the support that she needs so that she can get the proper training, I have to do my job and kind of step up and make sure she does have that time. And the only way for us to really do that and manage that on top of our overhead and on top of raising the family is to really make it a way of life. Mm-hmm. To make it something that's not like, oh, I got to do this, but it's something that's just become just a natural, organic part of our day in, day out between each other and with our children. Right. Right. And I don't know if somehow that can translate to supporting more mothers to get involved, but making it more of a lifestyle. I think from just my perspective, as opposed to something you need to do to protect you, kind of adds this anxiety. Right. That's just one of those thoughts.
What I like about our group is that, when we first started in Philadelphia, when we first started teaching in Philadelphia, I had just had our youngest daughter, Zalay, and we would train, and then you would hold the baby, or I would hold the baby, or even our group members would hold the baby.
Correct. And
even now, when we're demoing in front of the class, our older students who are more comfortable with our children, we bring our children to class. If they see our children aren't behaving, they'll step to the side and give them a couple of words, kind words, to let them know to get back on track. So if you create a woman and child friendly environment, it is helpful, And a lot of martial arts, a lot of the Kali classes, people are in either like they're a martial arts, center or a gym. And so creating that space, I think, is also really helpful.
That's right. And just adding to it, we're creating more than a group. For us, it has to be a community. And that's something that we believe it can flourish in that way as long as all the energy is proper. So we do want to encourage families training PTK and to create that culture within your own group, to encourage that kind of family lifestyle. This was a family tradition. So of course we can move in and go in, pay your monthly fee, get your classes and leave. But there's so much more that Pekiti Tirsia Kali can offer and has to offer. Okay, my queen is checking the chats. Give me a quick second here.
Oh, we got a good question from Nomad Kali. Who is
Okay, brother Nomad, that's my brother Royce.
Yes.
Matas Naguro Royce Ramos. It's probably in the flights right now coming from the Philippines.
Safe journeys, Royce.
Nomad Kali asking LG Jenna about kind of what we just went into, what her experience was as a mother and wife and as a woman. So we talked about being a woman and we talked about being a mother, but as a wife for a minute, that's another, I'm glad you added that, Royce. Thank you for that. How does that work?
Well, we make it work.
I'm treading lightly here.
Yeah, I mean, well, Royce asked specifically, how has it impacted, my life? And, I think the beautiful thing about training martial arts, anytime you're in tune with your body and mind, it's almost like a spiritual, meditation. So I do feel a beautiful healing and balance in training. I feel better after I train. And as a wife and a mother, I feel more connected with my family after I train. And so I enjoy having the opportunity to train with my husband and spend more time with him. And, we have a lot of positive experiences that we can, bring up and remember and talk about. So it gives us so much life to our relationship. So, this is really a beautiful thing. And, we push, as always, to remain professional, but there's also a genuine connection that I'm sure our students feel and that we feel with each other.
And it gets bumpy sometimes, and it's the training that brings us together.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the training. Jenna and I, when we decided to unite as soulmates and become one and move forward, we did make a commitment that we are a martial family. Jenna has a martial arts warrior background. That's my passion and my lifestyle. So there are some things that we do agree on. And one is that nothing will interfere with the training. So there are times where it gets crunchy and bumpy between us, but it's okay, we got to table that right now and go to class.
Right.
Then we go to class and we train, and then just the camaraderie with the group, the culture, training hard, sweating, pushing hard.
It brings this natural joy.
It brings joy. It brings joy seeing people feeling like, wow, I'm learning something. It brings, and to feel a sense of accomplishment. And then by the end of the class, at least me, I'm usually looking like, my bad. And so I'm being funny here, but the point is that this is a family tradition, and it's something that brings healing to our family, and it's something that we think we can bring to the community, and that the community is already bringing. And for those, there are many couples out there training PTK. We're not the only one. We want to hear your voices too, because it's something beautiful when you do have your partner in your balance. Just as a male, there's something about our group is 50% female at the moment. And of course, Jenna is a huge part of that. There's something about it brings a balance to the group when you have that. I like to say the men are more yang and the stick is more yang, and the queens are more yin, and the blade is more yin. Our movements are more gross motor, and we're used to bringing power. Well, when it comes to the blade, no matter how big or strong you are, all you have to do is go like this and you can cut. And so it's the bringing that together, that espada y daga, in the training and in the class, that just makes training that much better. And to see we have some big strong brothers in our class, to see them have to get more fluid and more finesse and to see the queens have to get stronger
Right.
to deal with a larger opponent,
Right.
it brings a harmony.
Right.
So
and everyone does
it.
really get a good full spectrum of partner work, where you learn to work with your match, but then you also learn to deal with someone who's challenging. But it does cause a beautiful balance in our group, and we're very lucky to have that. A lot of colleague
That's right.
groups, you'll see like one woman peppered into the crowd, and in a funny way, I often, when I see like a seminar picture on
Yeah.
like on Facebook, I'm like, where's the woman? And I look at that one woman, and I'll be like, yeah, go her. And I'm like, try to friend her, just because I want
That's
to be
right.
motivating and encouraging to, anyone who's really pushing to make this a part of their livelihood.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
So that's what we want to encourage, more of that in our groups. We want to hear those voices. And moving forward, I'm sure most of the viewership right now is probably predominantly male. Let the female practitioners know. Let your queens know. Let your daughters know. We will be having a female co-host and female guests. All right. There's a lot of guests we have in mind. Some of you already know who I'm thinking about. And so we do want to bring your voice and your perspective.
Right.
Let me take 1 minute and just check some of these questions here. Okay. All right. So I want to answer one of the questions from Pumping
Lima one.
Pumping Lima one. Okay, I'm apologizing. I got a couple of lights on here. Salute, Philly native. Okay. Why is there such a lack of Kali in this city? I think it's about awareness, first and foremost. Philadelphia is a rich boxing city. It is a beautiful city that has a lot of history and roots in boxing. And so, that's what this city is. That's what this city is first and foremost about. And then there's a strong MMA culture that's also present here as well. And shout out to both of those communities, because there's some tough people out here in Philly. Okay, in terms of bringing Kali, I think what we've seen is that the Kali programs are usually integrated with other programs. So usually you'll have a Kali program, but then there'll be a Muay Thai program, and that's not. I'm not trying to knock those programs that do that, but it doesn't bring the kind of value to this specific art form that might make people want to say, okay, wow, I want to dedicate myself more. Like we said, this is a large community and there's a place for that community. But I think what we're representing is the first representation of one system only, PTK. And what we believe, my friend, is that when more people begin to see, wow, there's a true authentic place here. Not that so much those places aren't authentic, but none of the time is split training anything else. Our time here is committed 100% to Kali. We believe this will change in the future. And when people like yourself come down and see the program that we have going on and kind of spread the word, this will change. And we hope to have Philadelphia as a strong headquarters for PTK moving forward.
And it also is just a matter of, somewhat fate, in that, how when PTK spread from just one being located in the Philippines, being traditionally Filipino family system, to now spreading to be kind of a worldwide phenomenon. The instructors who were teaching and the heir of the system who was teaching, they traveled to different places, and that caused like a nice ripple effect. And people travel to different places to kind of set up shop and teach. And so there's a lot of people who are training, who are just who is like setting up a group because that's where they decided to live. But then there are more and more people who now are becoming more aware of Kali and reaching out to the community for support and beginning their journey. But for the longest time, Pekiti Tirsia is fairly new in being as widespread as it is, meaning like under 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really a matter of fate. And I think fate is, a beautiful thing, in that, there happens to be, a great, instructor, and, we happen to have great support, and that helps us remain strong as a group. And so we just look forward to continuing to spread and being a part of propagating the system. I use that word. I use the word propagate.
And let me stand corrected. There is another PTK group in Philadelphia representing SMF, Joe Levan. We're more in the city of Philadelphia, and they're more in the city proper. But I have to give all respect to all PTK. And so what we want to encourage people is to find your local PTK wherever you are. Now, to go to your question about why isn't it as strong as in New York, New York City is a special place for PTK.
Mm-hmm.
It's where the roots in the States, where GT kind of, landed, planted his roots in Queens, and then there it flourished. And then there's a few groups today that are continuing to keep into that tradition. I see a question from my brother Train Kali. Okay. Salute to Agalon Rich Howe, who will be a future guest and co-host here on the show. For people who are new to FMA, why Pekiti, and why do you think it's not mainstream? So that's a really good question. And again, we want to answer these things in a way that's always going to be inclusive and always going to be positive. This is always going to be a positive show with word sound. Okay. And so one of the main things I think, Rich, which is why we want to have this, is that Pekiti really hasn't had a platform of its own to express the beauty and the vastness. It's like PTK is like a vast ocean. Its movements, its concepts, its philosophy, its history, its culture. There really hasn't been a platform to give, in our opinion, dedication to this huge ocean of PTK. And more often than not, we get bits and pieces, really good bits and pieces here and there. But again, those bits and pieces are still not as mainstream. I think another reason is just personally is that Pekiti Tirsia is still very much a family system. And it hasn't gone so well. When we say FMA, we're inclusive of a lot of other types of martial arts. We're including Arnis, Eskrima, and we're including Kali. So that's just a huge umbrella for people to choose from. As you go within that umbrella, I'm sure all of these FMA schools, they all kind of just have a, relatively speaking, basic following. Am I wrong here? I might be, just saying. And so FMA is vast, but then these different schools of thought have their own variants. And so PTK, is one that I think hasn't had a platform, and ones just haven't been able to see it for what it is.
And I would jump in and say that.
Please do.
Also,
help me out here.
But also, from my experience, I trained. I grew up in a martial arts, family as well before I trained Pekiti. And so, as someone who's grown up in the martial arts world, I would say the main reason I didn't know about it was because it's not really on the competition scene. Whether it's like primetime boxing or like in a martial arts tournament. Pekiti Tirsia is not really on that scene, and really because it's kind of difficult to do. I do give up, and also it's not as reachable to children, and that also tends to blow up martial arts, especially in the new age world where children training martial arts is like a common thing. Or being in a kiddie karate program is very common. I really respect though the work of those who have done the Kali for kids or who have developed programming to, teach Kali as as a children's program, like after school program. But, it's kind of hard to compete with Kali. And is that really what it's for anyway? That's a debatable conversation because PTK is about combat and survival. So, stick sparring on a competitive level, it's really not as seen because, you've seen, there's obviously like the Dog Brothers gatherings and stuff like that.
Salute.
And that's awesome. But, obviously everyone would not be willing to do that and to put their body on the line in that way. But Kali manifests itself that way, take it or leave it. And so because it's not on a competitive circuit, people are not jumping in to say, oh yeah, I want to do that because, I'm going to get trophies, and the reward is survival. That's the reward for Kali a lot of the time,
And just to add to that, kind of what Jen is sparking me to think, this martial arts industry, and I think that for the most of the PTK community, we're striving to keep a level of authenticity that any industry can take from on purpose or even inadvertently. And so the guardians and the pillars of PTK hopefully will continue to keep this from, we're right on that edge. It's a great question. For us, why Pekiti? I mean, everyone has to find their natural path. One, it's because of what it has to offer, not just an incredibly efficient combat system against a violent encounter for men and women, but also a practical way of life. You know, Pekiti has made me a better father. It's made me a better husband. It's made me a better friend, a better brother, a better human being when I learn to apply the movements that we do in my lifestyle, when I learn to sidestep certain things, take off from certain things, deflect certain things. And so for me, it's the combative aspect of it that makes Pekiti so rich, but it's also what it has to offer for your soul, for your community, for your family. That's my personal answer. We do want to hear other people's personal answers as to why they train Pekiti. Is there another question here?
No, we got one from another one. Like, how does it overlap?
The overlap. Okay, we have a question. Salute to our students, by the way, the Philly group who helped make this come alive. Once again,
Philly.
It's not just the instructor, it's the students, it's the relationship between the instructor and students. That's what this whole process should be about. So one of our students, Lawrence, asked us, thank you guys, is there an overlap as a role of mother instructor and as an educator?
And I'll say to that, thank you for your question. And absolutely. You know, I think that, you know, we don't, you know, vocation used to be a family thing where people used to, like if your family was button makers, everybody was button makers. And then you pass that down, that legacy down. But, you know, now in contemporary times, you know, not so much. But, you know, I firmly believe in, you know, martial science as a legacy, something that's passed to myself from my parents and, you know, passed to me from my husband, and something that I want to definitely pass to my children. And the attributes that you build up in training martial science, like discipline, self-control, respect for all life, those attributes are so absolutely important in passing to my children and maintaining and exemplifying in my relationship with my husband and my family and as an educator, definitely, you know, I teach at an independent, you know, preschool, and our children do train. They obviously not as in depth as in our class, but you know, the fine motor skills that we develop doing basic Kali footwork or you know, doing basic exercise, calisthenics, you know, we do as well. So there's definitely an overlap, and that's why it's a way of life.
That's right. It's not so much about being separate. If it's something, I gotta go train. Oh, I miss training. We're kind of approaching it from the wrong mindset. It's a way of life. This is, you know, I enjoy training. Oh man, this is something I want to do. It brings me healing. Oh man, I'm exhausted. That means I gotta train. Oh man, I'm not feeling too good. It means I have to train. Oh man, I feel great. It means I have to train. I'm stressed about something. You know where this is going. It means I have to train. So for us, the training is what brings the healing, and I think that's kind of what Jen is saying is part of the overlap.
Yeah.
Family. Episode 1. We're just touching bases. We just want to reach out. We have a schedule that we're lining up. Yep, we have guests that we're going to be bringing on that we're going to share with you. We're looking to have a whole bunch of surprise guests that we're lining up behind the scenes. That's all I want to say right now.
I definitely want to give a shout out, you know, as we are moving towards Mother's Day. I want to give a shout out to all the mothers in Kali, you know, the mothers that are in Florida, the mothers that are in Thailand, and the mothers that are just mothers to the art, like our favorite Jersey Mandala. Just want to give a shout out to the women training PTK. And in that spirit, as many of you know, I have a Kali and tea program where the women, we come, we train, and then we drink tea afterwards and talk about how we now are dangerous. And we're going to have a special Mother's Day Kali and tea. And we will do that on May 11th. And
yes, more info to come.
Yes.
Honor the mothers. Groups, try to find a way to honor the mothers this Mother's Day. We want to encourage everybody out there. Let's bring these mothers out. Let's provide childcare. When Jenna has the Kali and tea, I'm watching the babies. I'm over here running around, watching the babies, making sure these mothers can get their training in. So I want to encourage all of us instructors to do the same. Questions, feedback, topics, please email us at livebladeptk@gmail.com. Check the website www.livebladeptk.com. All this is going to be links in the description. Send us future episodes you'd like to see, thoughts you want to share, things to help make this, look better. And we look forward to moving forward with you guys again. Thanks for participating.
Thank you.
Okay, let's salute out. Is that corny? If we also we salute out, if we do the loyalty well, all right, listen. We just want to say thank you, everybody.
Thank
We'll get a
you.
normal salute later on. No problem.
Peace.